Funeral homes operating around the clock in COVID hit Beijing. ANWAR leads 222 members of parliament to take oath, and more updates on the Batangkali landslide. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Muhammad Yusuf, and this is TVS Nightline. We begin with our top story. Hearses bearing the dead lined the driveway to a designated COVID-19 crematorium in Beijing, while workers at the city's dozen funeral homes were busier than normal, days after China reversed tight pandemic restrictions. Funeral homes and crematoriums across the city of 22 million are also struggling to keep up with demands as more workers and drivers testing positive for coronavirus call in sick.
It is estimated about 30 vehicles were seen outside the Dongjiao funeral home and crematorium. At least one body was seen at the mortuary as numerous chimneys bellowed smoke from the ongoing cremations. Workers in hazmat suits were busy taking the coffins out of the hearses and taking them inside the building. Family members were seen on the funeral home grounds waiting for the remains of their loved ones. China's health authority last reported COVID deaths on December 3rd, while Beijing's last reported fatality was on November 23rd. Since lifting restrictions earlier this month, China has told its population of 1.4 billion to nurse their mild symptoms at home unless symptoms become severe, as cities across China brace for their first waves of infection.
The Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim today led 222 members of the Dewan Rakyat in an oath-taking ceremony during the 15th Parliament sitting. The ceremony was followed by the swearing-in of the two Deputy Prime Ministers, Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi and Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof.
Saya Anwar bin Ibrahim, setelah dipilih sebagai seorang ahli Dewan Rakyat dengan sesungguhnya bersumpah bahawa saya akan dengan jujur menunaikan kewajipan-kewajipan saya sebagai yang demikian. Dengan segala daya upaya saya, bahawa saya akan menumpahkan taat setia yang sebenar kepada Malaysia dan akan memelihara, melindungi dan mempertahankan perlembagaannya.
It then continued with the lineup of cabinet ministers, deputy ministers, parliamentary members, MPs of the government and MPs from opposition parties. In the election, Pakatan Harapan PH won 82 seats, Perikatan Nasional PN 73, Barisan Nasional BN 30, Gabungan Parti Sarawak GPS 22, Gabungan Rakyat Sabah GRS 6 and Warisan 3. The unity government was formed as a result of a coalition of political parties including PH, BN, GRS, GPS and Warisan. The Dewan Rakyat will sit for 2 days until tomorrow, while the Dewan Negara will convene for 1 day this Wednesday. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim today confirmed his legitimacy as the 10th Prime Minister when the motion on vote of confidence for him was approved by a majority voice at the opening sitting of the 15th Parliament here. The legitimacy of the Tambun MP as Prime Minister was confirmed by Dewan Rakyat Speaker Datuk Johari Abdul when he announced the result of the voice vote, which was taken after 13 government and opposition members had debated the motion. The motion was tabled by Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof and seconded by another Deputy Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi. On the other hand, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Law and Institutional Reform, Datuk Seri Azalina Othman, said when winding up the debate although the vote of confidence on the Prime Minister was not compulsory, the government itself had taken the initiative to table the motion. She said this was to prove that the Tambun Parliament had the confidence of the House to be the 10th Prime Minister after taking his oath of office on November 24th.
In the same development, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof has moved a motion of confidence in support of Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim as the 10th Prime Minister. When tabling the motion, Fadila said it was important for the unity government to secure the confidence of lawmakers.
He added the motion will strengthen the confidence of investors, the business community and the people, while also allowing the unity government to render the best service to the people. He further said the government is also committed to stabilizing the political climate, striving for a prosperous economy, uniting Malaysians of all races, and raising the country up in the eyes of the world. He urged the House to take a stand and pledge complete support for the leadership of Anwar Ibrahim as Prime Minister to carry out his duty and responsibility. Fadila also acknowledged that this was the first time in history that a unity government is in play, following a hung parliament.
On to our next news. Sepsis or meningitis could be the cause of the untimely death of a baby at a bus stop in Jelukong Sri Aman early in December. Sarawak Health Department Director Dr. Ui Chu Huck said, based on reports gathered from interviews with the baby's parents, medical records as well as physical assessment of the baby, the two conditions are the most probable cause of death.
According to the final investigation report, the 3-month-old baby died in a bus en route from Kuching to Sarake with her mother on December 4th to get treated with traditional medicine. The baby's mother realized her baby was not breathing when they stopped at a bus stop in Jelukong, Sri Aman, before bringing her baby to a nearby hospital to get checked. The baby was pronounced dead on arrival. However, the family refused to undergo autopsy. The baby's body was brought home and buried by her family. In the meantime, Dr. Oi urged the public to bring their babies or children to the nearest medical facilities if they are unwell.
In a related news, parents and caregivers in particular serve as critical advocates and essential partners in the prevention and treatment which concerns their children's health. As such, Public Health Expert Associate Professor Dr. Helmi Hazmi of University Malaysia Sarawak UNIMAS stressed that parents should monitor their children's health from time to time, and children who are sick should be brought to the nearest hospital or health clinic immediately.
Untuk kanak-kanak, orang ramai, terutamanya ibu.
It is important for parents or caregivers to be alert to their children's health. Speaking from experience, new parents may have less experience when it comes to determining their children's critical health condition. As such, they might think that they only suffer from mild symptoms like how adults do. We need to remember that young children are unable to speak and explain their conditions to adults. So most of the time, we need to evaluate the health condition of the children ourselves. As a parent, it is very important to be sensitive and alert to the critical signs in children and send them to the nearest health clinic or a hospital for further clarification. I have seen a mother who thinks that their 4-year-old child will not listen. What happened was that the child was very fatigued due to severe diarrhea. Aside from that, I also recommend doctors to be patient and empathetic when assessing children's health, because this quality will make more parents and caregivers cooperate in the treatment of their children.
Now, as of December 18th, Cebu recorded a total of 77 instances of dengue cases. This shows an increase of 113.9% when compared to last year's total number of infections in the same period, which was 36 cases. And according to the Cebu Divisional Health Office, it said the increase was attributed to the combination of the rainy season and the lack of prevention measures by members of the public.
The statement by the agency said that rainy season has caused more breeding grounds for mosquitoes, and these breeding grounds usually located around residents, and offices are left unchecked. In most cases, the breeding grounds are located in residential areas, added the agency. In 2022, Cebu recorded 3 live casualties due to dengue. The Cebu Division Health urged members of the public to be more vigilant while fogging services are being carried out in affected areas.
Tourism Malaysia will continue to work together with Sarawak Tourism Board (STB) in efforts to promote community-based tourism in the state. According to Tourism Malaysia Sarawak Director Nuriyah Jaafar, the tourism industry in Sarawak seems livelier following an increase in the number of domestic vacationers after national borders were reopened.
Nuriyah said domestic tourism is crucial in generating sustainable revenue for the country.
Kelebihan di Sarawak ialah apabila satu program diadakan, dia lebih kepada community based tourism ataupun lebih dikenali sebagai CBT. So community based tourism ni membantu menjana pendapatan kepada penduduk setempat dan juga penduduk tempatan dalam meningkatkan ekonomi mereka sendiri melalui pelancongan domestik.
She added the locals are now more actively taking part in growing the domestic tourism sector by promoting the uniqueness of their own areas. Tourism Malaysia Sarawak is working together with the relevant ministries to upgrade facilities in an effort to make tourist destination more accessible.
Apabila suatu tempat itu ada potensi untuk dibangunkan, kita akan cuba menambah fasiliti sedia ada melalui kerjasama di antara kementerian dengan kementerian yang lain. So itulah tujuannya kenapa promosi perlu dibuat, supaya apabila suatu tempat tu nampak ada potensi untuk dibangunkan, maka melalui kerjasama inilah, jalinan kerjasama antara kementerian-kementerian, maknanya setiap kementerian ada bajet dia. Ada bajet pembangunan, ada bajet promosi, ada bajet untuk membantu menambah fasiliti sedia ada.
She added that the COVID-19 pandemic has in a way contributed to a rise in demand for domestic tourism. This is because the masses are now beginning to be aware of the existence of several domestic tourist destinations due to the previous international travel restrictions.
Jadi apabila berlaku pandemik, kita mula sedar bahawa adanya demand kepada pelancongan domestik. So kita sebagai saya kira kami sebagai industry players dan juga penduduk tempatan, kita patut bersama-sama menjaga kualiti produk-produk pelancongan yang sedia ada. Selain daripada itu, kita juga perlu memastikan bahawa produk kita standard mengikuti piawaian antarabangsa, supaya kita bukan saja dapat menakluklah pelancong domestik, tapi pada masa sama kita juga dapat meyakinkan pelancong antarabangsa untuk melancong ke Malaysia melalui program pelancongan domestik yang besar.
Tourists are urged to do a background check for each of their destination, especially on tourist spots that are safe and recognized by the authorities. This is because some tourist destinations, which went viral on social media, are not necessarily recognized by the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, MOTAC.
Kita sebenarnya memang sentiasa mewar-warkan di dalam website MOTAC tempat-tempat yang diiktiraf, tempat-tempat yang selamat, tempat-tempat yang mendapat piawaian keselamatan standard yang diiktiraf oleh negara lah, dan dikeluarkan oleh MOTAC melalui website MOTAC lah sendiri. Jadi mungkin perkara itu boleh dirujuk oleh semua pelancong asing sebelum memilih sesuatu pelancong tempatan dan juga pelancong asing sebelum memilih suatu tempat untuk didiami, dilawati dan diduduki lah.
Nuriyah stressed that Tourism Malaysia is always in tandem with MOTAC's aim in keeping tourist destinations safe. In developing a specific tourist destination, Nuriyah said that MOTAC not only emphasizes on the attraction and beauty to tourists, but prioritizes their safety as well.
Di dalam mana-mana kerajaan, kita memang akan memastikan terdapat proses dan prosedur yang perlu dipatuhi sebelum sesuatu tempat itu untuk dibangunkan. Okey, sama ada cuma kadang-kadang kuasa viral mengatasi segala-galanya lah. Apabila kuasa viral mengatasi, jadi mungkin orang tidak sedar bahawa mungkin tempat tu masih belum mendapat pengiktirafan dan belum mendapat piawaian tertentu, belum memenuhi piawaian tertentu yang telah ditetapkan oleh kerajaan.
Dewan Rakyat appoints new speaker and deputy speakers, and thousands of ecstatic fans celebrate in Buenos Aires. All that and more only on TVS Nightline. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, rescuers have searched almost 1 kilometers beyond the landslide area near the Father's Organic Farm campsite in hopes of finding the remaining 9 victims. According to Selangor's Fire and Rescue Department Assistant Director for Operations, Hafisha Muhammad Noor, rescuers have dug almost the whole of the landslide area using excavators.
Hari ini kita tumpukan kepada tempat yang kita belum laksanakan, yang kita rasanya situ kemungkinan besar kita akan menjumpai lah yang baki yang belum mangsa yang belum kita temui. Dan juga kita berharap pada hari ini supaya usaha kita ni membuahkan hasil lah. Sebab semalam tidak ada hasil, kita rasa sedikit terkilan, kecewa lah. Sebab seharian kita berusaha masih belum menemui lagi mangsa yang masih yang ketinggalan.
He told this to reporters during a press conference on Monday, December 19th. The search and rescue SAR operations carried out by multiple agencies, including the Fire and Rescue Department, Police, Armed Forces and National Disaster and Management Agency NADMA, have so far covered more than 80% of the landslide area.
Di sana kita telah wujudkan satu safety officer untuk memantau sekiranya berlaku gelinciran ataupun pergerakan tanah. So mana dia safety officer ni, dia akan membunyikan whistle untuk semua yang berada di ground zero tu untuk menyelamatkan dirilah sekiranya apa-apa berlaku.
For the record, an early morning landslide struck near the Father's Organic Farm campsite in Gotong Jaya on Friday. A total of 61 victims have been rescued and the death toll stood at 24 as of last night, with the youngest being a 1-year-old boy. Now, the Selangor Fire and Rescue Department Bomba today denied ever giving permission to members of the public or volunteers to join the search and rescue operation for the landslide incident at Father's Organic Farm. In a statement, it said this is in line with orders from the National Security Council 2.0 that only allows trained rescue agencies to be inside the red operation zone.
The 5 agencies are JPBM, Royal Malaysia Police, Malaysian Armed Forces, Malaysia Civil Defence Force, and Special Malaysia Disaster Assistance and Rescue Team SMART. The statement added the main aspects for personnel involved are safety, competence, and fitness while in an area that is prone to further landslides. It further said the situation requires awareness and special training. Therefore, physically fit and skilled personnel are required to be on site. JPBM Selangor released a statement following the viral circulation of a photo of a group of non-governmental organization volunteers entering the incident site, claiming they were permitted to assist in the SAR operation. The search and rescue operation has entered its 4th day to locate the remaining 9 missing victims of the Friday incident. The landslide claimed the lives of 24 people so far, while 61 out of 94 victims managed to make it out with their lives.
On to our next news. Former Gurun Assemblyman Datuk Johari Abdul has been elected as the new Speaker of Dewan Rakyat. He will be replacing former Dewan Rakyat Speaker Tan Sri Azhar Azizan Harun.
Johari, who was proposed by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, garnered 147 votes against the opposition nominee, former Home Minister Tan Sri Muhammad Razi Sheikh Ahmad, who obtained only 74 votes. The motion to elect the new Speaker was made soon after the first meeting of the first session of the 15th Parliament began at 10 a.m. Dewan Rakyat Secretary Nizam Maidin Bacha Maidin said he received the written nomination for Johari and Muhammad Razi on December 5th. On December 18th, Azhar Azizan officially stepped down as the Speaker after holding the post since July 13th, 2020.
Meanwhile, Cameron Highland Member of Parliament Datuk Ramli Muhammad Noor BN and Lanang Member of Parliament Alice Lau DAP have been elected as the new Deputy Speakers of Dewan Rakyat. Ramli and Alice, whose nomination was proposed by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, garnered 148 and 146 votes respectively. Another candidate, Datuk Mas Emriati Samsudin, who is also former Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Parliament and Law, gained only 74 votes. Perikatan Nasional PN Supreme Council member Datuk Seri Taqiyuddin Hassan, who is also past Secretary General, had earlier proposed Mas Emriati as the opposition's candidate for the post. Speaker Datuk Johari Abdul called for a ballot vote as there were more than 2 candidates proposed for the post as stated under Standing Order 6 in bracket 2 and 4 in bracket 3 of the Dewan Rakyat. When asked by Taqiyuddin whether each MP could choose more than one candidate for the post, Johari said each MP was only allowed to vote for 2 names. Johari also announced Larut MP Datuk Seri Hamzah Zainuddin as the leader of the opposition in Dewan Rakyat.
The Royal Malaysia Police PDRM and the Indonesian National Police Polri will strengthen cooperation in the fight against transnational crime. This includes expediting the handling of criminals who escape across the borders of both countries.
The matter was discussed in a meeting between the International Relations Division of PDRM and Polri, which took place recently. Head of the International Relations Division of Polri, Krishna Murthy, said Malaysia could refuse the entry of Indonesian criminals who fled or return them to Indonesia. In a statement, he said Polri also plans to establish a border transnational crime liaison office to increase the surveillance of the country's borders. According to Krishna, the existence of the office will encourage direct coordination between the 2 parties so that problems can be resolved quickly and accurately without referring to the headquarters. The meeting last Thursday, in addition to being an ASEAN agenda, optimized active dialogue and strengthened capacity building of the 2 countries' police.
Thank you for staying with us. Now on to some sports update. Former SEA Games badminton champion S. Kisona has announced her departure from the Badminton Association of Malaysia (BAM) effective January. The decision has been thoroughly discussed since last November, where Kisona intends to take some time off due to her knee injury. Though her injury is not as serious as her previous injuries, Kisona said she has her own goal to ensure that she is able to perform better in the next major tournament.
The journey in BM is different because you can't always have a flexible time, because by the time you haven't fully recovered, maybe you have to fight for your tournament because you don't want your ranking to drop beside you qualify for Olympic and other tournament. So I think if I was at outside, will be as a professional, and then I have my own flexible time so I can have a proper recovery and then to fight back.
Even so, she does not underplay any possible return to the national squad if BAM is willing to accept her back. At the same time, national singles coach Wong Chung Han said Kisona's recovery in the meantime will be assisted by the National Sports Council and the National Sports Institute.
Normally, ISM will still support ex-players' recovery process and rehab process as per what Jinwei has. So I think Kisona also falls under that category. So on that part, from a sports science perspective, she's under the caretaking.
Kisona currently ranks 57th in the world, falling behind Goh Jinwei, who is the country's best women's single player for badminton and ranks 37th in the world's ranking. Wrapping up the Nightline, after 36 years, Argentina has earned the coveted trophy of FIFA World Cup. The celebration in Qatar was nothing but grand, and the same could be said with what was going on in the capital city of Argentina, Buenos Aires, where thousands of ecstatic fans thronged the streets with giant flags and banners to celebrate the hard-earned title for their third time in history. Some fans even climbed on traffic lights and sprayed their drinks into the air, as some said they suffered their way to the third world trophy.
I suffered a lot. I released a lot of emotions and I cried. The environment was beautiful. It was as if you were watching the game with your family, but everywhere was full of strangers. And it's beautiful, the atmosphere that's created in the capital city. The match developed in a calm way, but then they tied with us and everything came down. This is unexplainable. I'm 34 years old and I had never seen Argentina become champions. To celebrate it here with everyone and having the bonus that Messi got the trophy is unexplainable happiness. I still can't believe it. I'm very happy. Messi deserved it for a long time. I thank the team. I thank the team for what they have done. It's crazy. Look at this. It's the first time I live this.
The finals of the FIFA World Cup was a tense and roller coaster match played in Qatar in front of some 88,000 fans. Argentina, led by star Lionel Messi, took home the first World Cup since 1986 after beating France, the defending champions 4-2 on penalties after drawing 3-3 after extra time.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates, both locally and internationally. Just a click away by heading on to our website at www.tvstv.my or by following us on our social media platforms. And that's all the time we have for tonight's TVS Nightline. Once again, I'm Ahmad Yusuf. Thank you so much for watching and good night.